Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Dan and Devin Tech Talk. I'm Devin Sardelli, Sales and Marketing for Silicon Plains.
And I'm Dan Polk, CEO and President.
It's getting back to that time of year now where parents are starting to send their kids back to school, send their kids off to colleges, and businesses are having to refocus on what they're thinking about this time of year as we kind of approach the fourth quarter. So today we're going to talk about what are the things that you should be focusing on as a business owner right now as this time of year rolls on, and how can that help you moving forward to maximize your business. So Dan, why don't you start a little bit, what should businesses be looking for right now? It's kind of August, kids are going back to school, the mindset shifts a little bit, vacations kind of start to shut down, they pack up the lake house, board it up, and get kind of back into work mode. So if you're a business owner, what are you looking at doing right now as August rolls around?
Well, like you said, summer's always super busy, and normally post-Christmas too, there's just holiday after holiday, the weather's changing, kids are coming home from school, and there's just so much stuff going on that even from a business standpoint, it's tough to stay focused and figure out, what are we trying to plan for next year. And my favorite time of year for doing that from a business standpoint is as soon as the kids are gone and they're back in school, then you sit down with the people in the company who are all thinking about, okay, we've got a couple of holidays happening, but there isn't that much to plan for other than that. Right. And when you start thinking about what does a business need to think through for the next year, it starts with some basic stuff. And that's where we come in. So we put together simple things for business owners and business leaders that let them understand where their costs might come into play beyond what they might be spending now for IT support. So it's one of the advantages of doing business with us. All of our services are flat rate, they don't change. So from a budgetary standpoint, you budget once when you sign up with us, and then you don't have to change that budget typically very often ever again. Hopefully, unless you're growing like gangbusters. So aside from the IT support side of things, you've got hardware, computers. They get old, they get dirty, they get slow because you're running applications that are demanding even more. And so what we put together is a hardware lifecycle report. And this is a nice document, and Devin's going to put it on the screen while we're talking, but it's a really nice document that breaks down what are all my computer hardware parts and pieces and machines and servers and whatever else that I have inside the building, and how old are they, when did I buy them, are they still under warranty, and when do I need to think about replacing them, when is it coming up? And like you can see on the report that we've got up on the screen, it makes it nice and simple. It turns it into colors. Green's good, red's bad, and talks about whether or not something is supported from an operating system. All very simple stuff, but it makes it even simpler by looking at that second page where it's got the list of computers, and you can just go right to the right side and you can see green is good, red is bad. And here's one of the biggest advantages to this is a lot of times when business owners are dealing with computers, they don't want to at all. They just they want to deal with it all. And I don't want to in our business deal with it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really does.
It's just not that important. It's not the late 80s when computers were the coolest thing that ever happened. Now it's just another boring piece of office furniture that needs to do its job, right?
Right.
So we sit around and we talk about computers, and it tends to come up during the year unless you have good reports like these where you're trying to replace computers for the people who are complaining the most about their computer. And that doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with the computer. That can sometimes mean there's something wrong with the person. Maybe they're just struggling to use it. Maybe the machine's just not set up correctly, and getting a new one's not going to make that any better. And so instead of dealing with the squeaky wheel method, which is kind of that, I don't want to deal with this, just get so-and-so a new computer, we put this hardware lifecycle report to make life easier for you. And so we sit down with you, go through it, show you what needs to be replaced, let you make the call as to whether or not you want to. And if you do, we're doing it way in advance so we can get it to the person who's sitting behind QuickBooks or whatever other financial management software you've got. They can look at everything and say, we'll have the budget set aside for that in the next 2 quarters, or whatever. It's nice and convenient, and boils that whole complicated, I don't want to think about it, it's a busy time of the year. Once you get focused again, boils it down to something that you can just look at, okay, let's replace these bottom 3 and move on.
Something easy, right?
Very easy.
That's perfect. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you can look at a document like that that's got a report, lines everything else out for you. You just don't have to think about all the complicated stuff. You've got somebody in place that just takes care of that for you. So, is there anything else you want to talk about a little bit right now about kind of mindset wise where businesses should be shifting?
Sure. I don't even know that it's necessarily driven by a time frame, but this is the kind of thing that I think the average company should expect in terms of managing their tech it really shouldn't be any more complicated than this.
Right.
If there is something that's complex, and we were sitting in a meeting the other day with some people who are thinking about doing business with us, and it was surprising to me how many people on the leadership team, and it's a very big company, 100+ employees, how many people on the leadership team knew exactly how their network worked. You know, they knew every component of their computer network, and these are people who are supposed to be, they're C-level executives.
Right.
They're not supposed to know how everything works as far as the plumbing and the, you know, the wiring in the walls.
Yeah.
But they did because their provider wasn't doing a great job. And so their expectations were actually kind of low.
Oh, wow.
And they were looking at it like, you know, we just want you to, you know, help us make our stuff not fail so much.
Right.
In reality, it just needed to be organized. It needed our touch. And this is an example of that where I think a lot of people expect their IT provider to, you know, say, yes, sir, absolutely, sir, whenever you yell at them that you need a new computer. And in reality, you should be way ahead of it.
Right.
Way ahead of it. You should be sitting down, talking with professionals like us and like who we have on our team over a report that makes it nice and simple, so it's a 5-minute conversation, not something where you feel like you're chasing fires. And I think that's the main thing, is that if you're looking at a piece of tech inside your company, and it's complicated throughout the chain of command inside the company, everybody is dealing with it, it's probably the support infrastructure, the support people, the company you have behind it making it complicated.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, really the point with IT is that you should not have to call your provider. Obviously, there are things that happen. We can't control everything, but you know, a lot of people focus on trying to get people to call them when stuff breaks.
Yep.
Silicon Plans, we focus on you never having to call.
That's exactly right.
And that's exactly what we want. So that's the way IT should be. I think that was a great conversation. Dan, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we say goodbye to these fine folks?
I think we're all good. Let's let them go.
Okay, awesome. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you back here next time. Stay classy.